lot of people are questioning how Carney handled this situation. He essentially said Tuesday that it was Chiang who offered his resignation himself and that Carney accepted it. So, at least from his public framing anyway, it appears as though Carney didn't act decisively himself to get rid of him, that it was Chiang who approached him and said, "Hey, I don't want to be a distraction in this campaign. We have bigger issues. We have the threats from the US. I think it's better for me to bow out." So that's really interesting to know. Of course, we saw the conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre, and the NDP leader, Jagmeet Singh, lambast Carney for this on Tuesday as well. Poilievre said Carney is just going to put his own interests before Canada's interests. Jagmeet Singh said that this was a failure of leadership. And they both kind of have points because people are going to interpret this as Carney wanting to boost his chances in a swing riding in what could be a very close campaign. The last thing that he wants now is to bleed seats to the Conservatives. And Markham Unionville was a riding that the Liberals had taken from the Conservatives in 2021. So undoubtedly, that played some sort of a role here, even if that's not something that he spoke about openly on Tuesday.
Mhm. A lot of people might be wanting to know a little bit more about foreign interference and transnational repression as it is in the context of this conversation, because that's the lens through which Chiang's comments have been looked at. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit more about the significance of that and how it fits into the broader conversation that's taking place in Canadian politics around this issue, around the issue of foreign interference and transnational repression.
Yeah, so transnational repression, it's really interesting. In Canada, we don't have like a formal or legal definition of it. It's essentially when a state or a foreign government attempts to intimidate or silence members of a diaspora community in another country.
Mhm.
And this came up a number of times in the Hogue report that was released earlier this year. That was the report that came from the public inquiry into foreign interference. And transnational repression fell outside the scope of the inquiry, but it was included in the final report in a few different contexts. Justice Marie-Josée Hogue found that the issue was a genuine scourge. Those are the words that she used in Canada. And she identified it after hearing testimony from a lot of groups and a lot of people as one of the most prevalent forms of interference, foreign interference in this country. She also identified China as a very active player in perpetrating transnational repression in Canada. Other ways that this issue was raised in this report was that it kind of outlined how China works in this space. They are known for directing transnational repression towards several groups, including pro-democracy activists from Hong Kong.
Mhm.
And it was also raised that it's really hard to detect China's efforts in Canada, which poses a big challenge to Canada's sovereignty and democracy. I think what's kind of important here is that beyond the impact on Canada itself, it has real impacts on people. Hogue heard from people who had been targeted by Beijing and by other countries and heard a lot about the impacts that it was having on their lives and their families' lives and the level of fear that they were feeling. And some of these people were really disappointed that the report wasn't able to dive into this issue more deeply. So it's clearly a topic that resonates with a lot of communities in Canada and deserves more attention.